Here we go then, folks. Final match of the weekend, and it is the seniors final, the main event final. Keith Brewer, his first Ultimate Pool event, one of the big names from yesteryear, is in action up against one of the Ultimate Pool professionals, Ronan McCarthy. Race to 6 frames, I have it right this time, on good authority, and 40 minutes on the race clock. And I said Ronan McCarthy's break has been improving this year, and there is the proof. An absolute sledgehammer from Ronan.
Beautiful. Looking to get off to a very fast start. It's all come down to this one game of pool. I have to work out how many matches have been played this weekend. It's a very big number.
Yeah, a lot of matches each, but also, you know, over the whole tournament, each player played 7 matches in the group stages. Top 4 in your group of 8, made it through to the knockout stages of the main, and then you start at the last 64 onwards. So a huge amount of ball played for both these players. Even if the matches were short in the group stages, it's still a lot of matches. So my maths, 13. This is the 13th match for Ronan McCarthy and Keith Brewer.
Slightly out of position early on in this break, but he's going to take the one up into the top right hand pocket. Well, maybe he did play this way around. The main problem in this finish, the main issue, is the red next to the yellow, but it does pass into a couple of pockets, so won't feel the need to be moving it. Down the table we go. Well, he is on both balls. I suspect he'll take the one at the bottom of the table, drift up the left hand side of the table and play for the window between the 2 yellows.
I would just wonder whether he realised it went into the left centre pocket, and which is why he's gone this way.
Well, he's played to hold. A little bit less margin for error, but that's just about perfect.
Yeah, he would have wanted to be on this ball previously, but that was an excellent shot. Really high tariff, that one, and he's got it absolutely bang on right.
And a nice opening 8 ball. For the legend of the game. Great to see him back at the top, Ronan McCarthy.
Yeah, that's brilliant. What a start. That is a statement to get going. The break was huge, and then rolls them in. That's what Ronan does, though. Ronan, is his percentage on making the clearance after making a ball off the break is incredibly high. His problem has always been making the ball off the break. But he's incredibly clinical when he goes, and he has got it here in the opening frame.
If he keeps breaking like that, it could be a short evening. Keith Brewer will have a lot to say about it, though, I'm sure. And we're going to see him up breaking next. And if he continues to break like he did in the semi-final, gave himself ample golden opportunities, this could be a fast and furious final. Yeah, very good again. I have to say, that was even bigger than Ronan's break. And look at this split. 3 yellows have found their way over towards pockets, and the other 2 are in the middle of the table.
Yeah, have some of that. I love that technique, I really do. He's absolutely poised still, and then all of a sudden it just happens. It unleashes it incredibly quickly.
When you think about the 2 players that are in the final, the first 2 words that certainly don't come to mind would be big breakers. But how silly do we feel? Because they are clattering this pack.
Yeah, Keith Brewer and Ronan McCarthy breaking like Jack Whelan and Tom Cousins right now.
Absolutely.
The most impressive thing with Keith's break is that there's a lot of moving parts on it, but he is flushing the ball every single time. I mean, one break here, obviously, but I mean, we saw him in his semi-final as well.
Yeah.
The consistency with the quality of strike on the break, considering that everything that's moving and the speed that it all happens in, incredible.
The break's not everything. You still got to navigate yourself around these yellow balls, and he's been pretty perfect up to now. Let's hope the match continues in this fashion, Simon. Could watch more of this.
Yeah, what a start from both. If Ronan's was a statement, well, that's a response. Absolutely incredible from Keith. Never in doubt since the moment he hit the break there. That clearance was as clinical as it gets. Has been fascinating to see Keith in action. First event with Ultimate Pool. Been away from the top of the game for a long, long time, has Keith Brewer. And it'd be interesting for me to know how much he has played at this rule set more than anything else. He's certainly adapted to it very well indeed.
I bet he's been watching it.
Oh, I'd be shocked if he hasn't. He'll probably say he hasn't, but I'd be shocked if he hasn't.
Can't avoid it. It's everywhere. Ultimate Pool taking over. Will the run of break and finishes continue? Eyes of concentration. The steely look. Needs a ball and isn't going to get one. So against the serve, Keith Brewer is going to get a chance on the Ronan McCarthy break.
He did catch them flush. He just doesn't have the same consistent power that some of the other top players in the world have. But you know, Ronan, he has worked on it, and when he's catching him as clean as that, good things do happen. It just happens to be this one is dry, and he's left a good chance here for Keith. These yellows are wide open.
Yeah, it's a good enough break. You just need that little bit of fortune, a little bit of luck. The key to this finish will be landing on the yellow on the left hand side of the table, the bottom. Everything else should be relatively comfortable.
Yeah, they are all there. The way he went about the first frame, you'd be surprised to not see him finish here, but they still need to be taken out. That's not the angle he wanted.
Yeah, I think he's forced into screwing straight back off this yellow. Needs to... Well, I thought he was going to come the other side.
And I think that was the issue.
Pocket.
I think he didn't have the angle. He could pinch it a little bit, but I think he couldn't pinch it other than centre of the opposite pocket, so he couldn't afford to go in off.
Still well and truly odds on to take out these three yellows.
That's a little short. In fact, it's very short.
I'm about to say, yeah, he's very short. How is he going to get on to his last yellow?
Even though he could pot that ball, chooses not to chase it, quite rightly. Couldn't pot that and get on the last yellow. So we're into a little bit of a tactical battle.
We are, but you feel that Ronan will just be happy to be back at the table here, Simon.
And he's got the numbers advantage. He's in the driving seat of this tactical exchange.
Massive numbers advantage. Torture the torturer. And so it begins. That was exactly the plan for Ronan McCarthy. Willing Keith Brewer to open his balls up a little bit.
Yeah, he has put Ronan in a spot a bother here, though. Okay, still, it's where does he hide the white now? Not easy to get. You want to make sure you hide the one in the middle of the table. You don't want to risk leaving any sort of shot on.
Would you be surprised here, Simon, to see Ronan go game?
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see him pot that ball, though. I would be very surprised to see him go game, but I think he potted that ball because he couldn't play the safety from where he was, and now he can play the safety.
This could be very nasty. Nearly, very nearly, but the double kiss has made this just a one cushion escape. Well, can he see the edge of this yellow? Yes, he can. Doesn't want to disturb these ones, these two, and I think he has done, although nothing easy. Well, that said, Simon, this red passes into this bottom right-hand pocket.
Yeah, it does, and I wonder he might be more tempted now. I still don't expect to see him go, but he now has more mileage to make a clearance, although he doesn't have a good opener.
Not tempted, even one whisper there.
You can't take on the one you're next to, because that's your ball to cannon out the other one. If you were going to go, it couldn't be with that ball. Has he left the gap? No. Okay. Just from the overhead. We've been fooled from the overhead many times.
Still fooled. Every time. We never learn. He'll be happy with that. Couldn't ask for too much more. Interesting tactical exchange in frame number 3 here. Keith Brewer keeping himself well and truly in this frame.
He is, but he's battling against one of the most patient pool players in the history of the game.
The Unflappables. You've heard of the Incredibles? These are the Unflappables.
It's a very apt description for Ronan McCarthy, that's for sure. Well, is he?
Off the yellow, is it? Ronan McCarthy has had enough. It's time to go.
Not come out great. He's developed the ball, yes, but he's not on the next one. It's a thin clip back, or it's a long a pot to the top left corner. Either or.
Yeah, the cut back it is. Cuba will be heading up the table. A friendly kiss would be nice.
That isn't it.
That definitely isn't it. Well, that's why we don't call shots, because that wasn't clear from where we were.
I mean, he's flicked both reds on making that plant. That was dangerous, but well executed. Another plant. Some visit this.
Absolutely. Intricate. crazy to think how much pool these two guys have played in their lifetime. It must be over 1 million games.
Can't even do the maths.
Crazy to think. Nothing short of perfect. Well, we stay with serve as we enter frame number 4.
No reaction from Ronan, as always. That was some visit to the table, though. Had to be patient, had to wait, weighed up the odds, decided that was his time to go. Great opening shot, and then brilliant thereafter. Fantastic stuff for Ronan. He's had some run through to this stage as well. After coming through his group, started off with a 4-2 victory over Neil Jackson, and then the hard work really started in terms of Dylan Leary, fellow Ultimate Pool professional, and by many people's tip for the title this weekend. He beat him 4-2, and then he played Lee Ross 4-0. Andy Appleton followed 4-3. Andy had just knocked out Jason Twist as well, and then Phil Green in the semi-finals 5-1.
It's a tough school out there in the over 50s. Yet again, pummeled into the pack. It's so impressive. Yeah. 4 yellows off the break, I think.
Absolute sledgehammer. It's impressive every time we see it.
4 yellows, but as always seems the case when an awful lot of one colour set has been potted, it's the opposite colour set that is favoured. Plenty more options, but these are very open.
Yeah, happens 9 times out of 10, if not more. So just working out his route here.
Extension code.
Everything does have a pocket, everything's in the open. It's the one above the yellow that he's thinking about, because it doesn't go left centre. So he wants to deal with that one, and everything else is much more clear cut.
That opens things up nicely for Keith Brewer. Well, that's a very high quality final up to now, Simon. Not that we expected anything less, of course.
Yeah, just as we thought it would be, to be honest. Just comes around to pick his angle on the last red. If he gets this right, he'll have an angle where he tracks down the line towards the 8 ball. Therefore, all the margin of error. In the end, decided to go down for it into the middle pocket, and he comes a mile short. That surprised me, really. I thought he was just going to track down and take it to the bottom left corner.
I think he can still cut this back, though.
Just.
Cue ball.
The other thing that's surprising for Keith there is if you are going to play for the 8 ball in the middle, you've got all your margin for long, because it can go in and out the bottom half of the table and you'd still get back to where you were. So he had a long way for long and left himself a little bit tricky, but good enough to come up with a pot. Could be a fascinating battle for the rest of this match. Both players are really on it here and looking to take down the inaugural Ultimate Pool Mini-Series Seniors title. Keith lost one match in the group stages. Won 6, lost 1 for smooth progress through the group.
Fifth frame, Ronan McCarthy to break. 2 frames all.
The steely-eyed Ronan McCarthy gets us underway in frame number 5 and has made a ball.
Once again, squares up that front ball. So important for Ronan, who doesn't have as much power as others, to get that flush. And he does. Interesting chance.
Yeah, it has got options though here. Red and yellow available. Cluster of yellows in the middle of the table though, Simon.
Yeah, how easy is the cluster to deal with? Because the yellow to right centre is a great last ball, because the 8 ball's in an awkward position. So how awkward is the yellows in the middle? Well, awkward enough for Ronan to go reds. And the red to the left there is probably his trickiest ball. Well, no, it's definitely his trickiest ball. It's not even a close call. I don't think it goes top left, so therefore need to get on it to left centre.
I think this one to the middle and he'll bring the cue ball back. I think he'll leave the one next to the 8 ball as his last ball. Well, he could play it now and chance bringing the 8 ball out.
I thought he'd have these two as his last 2 balls,
Yeah.
but he couldn't pot the one in the middle to start and stay on the ones at the top of the table. So this isn't an ideal route for Ronan.
This still works though, if he can take this ball and get up the table.
He could flick the 8 ball. It depends how thin can he catch the 8 ball. Can he use the 8 ball to spin up the table?
This could go wrong. He's made the pot. How's his luck? Yeah, always a chance it could go wrong, and it has done. He's going to have to conjure something up here.
So Keith gets his chance in this frame, and it's all about the yellows in the middle there.
Yeah, Ronan will consider himself a tad unfortunate not to cover this top left-hand pocket. Key shot coming up, but it's hard to see how he won't open these yellows up into a potable position.
Yeah, just a little flick on them on the way through. Looks like he has the perfect angle. Just catch that half ball. Oh, he caught it a little bit fuller than that, but it's still come out nicely for him. It could have been maybe half a roll shorter if he was on the one to the left centre. It would have made life a little bit easier, but he's got plenty of room when he travels his cue ball around.
Well, I think that's about as bad as he could have landed. He had a lot more margin for error. Another 6 or 12 inches of pace.
That's similar to the previous frame on getting on the 8 ball.
Absolutely. Is this going to get there? I think it is. No, it's not.
Wow.
It's hung.
Wow. How's that stopped? We had one of those earlier on today as well.
Yeah. Now, things just staying on serve at the moment. That's a big moment for Ronan McCarthy. enabling him what he should take the lead. Back. Used all the pocket, you have to say, Simon.
Yeah, and he was trying to stay on the road at the top of the table. That's how far offline he missed that by. He missed it thin, therefore the cue ball spins so much more to the right.
Putting himself under it a little bit.
Big shot. No, I got that one all wrong.
I was surprised he didn't go forward with the cue ball. I'm going to question him.
He potted it in the wrong side of the pocket. If he pops it in the centre or the left-hand side as he was looking, he would have come much further up the left-hand side, a good foot further left.
Thinks he can still cut this back. He can still cut this back. That's a great recovery pot by Ronan McCarthy. Like a French vinery, plenty of bottle. Love him.
That was fantastic. The last couple of shots, put himself under it, but he didn't show any emotion on any shot. He does it so often. You wouldn't know whether he's winning or losing. Doesn't matter whether he puts himself in a good position or not. You don't even get that half sneaky shake of the head you get with some other players. He is just where he is, and that's it. And he'll deal with whatever comes up and wherever he is.
To look at him, you'd think he's right miserable, wouldn't you? But he's not. He's
No,
far
he's not.
from it. One of the funniest characters we have at Ultimate Pool by a long way.
Keith Brewer to break. Trading 3 frames to 2.
Crucially though, he holds on to his lead in this match. Halfway point has just been and gone. This time though, Simon, the pack has not exploded.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Look how much spins on the cue ball there. Completely mishit the break.
Yep.
And nothing through the pack because of it.
Yellow balls in play.
Looks like Keith's looking to go game though, is he?
There is a route here on yellows. It's not easy. There is a pocket for every ball, but there's just a lot of reds in the way, and is only using half a table. It would be very aggressive, though, to go here.
Extension called.
Yeah, always looked like far jaw that.
Well, if you're going to miss early in the visit, because you've not left anything easy on here for Ronan. If he misses last ball, and he's opened it all up for Ronan, and you saw him just apologise to the referee there, asked to sit down after the shot. Players have to stay in their seat when they're not playing.
The rules are strict.
They are.
And sometimes you won't get a second warning. Or even a first in some cases. In times of old, you would say that yellows are dominating this game, but things can change very quickly.
Yeah, covering a pocket is no longer the advantage it used to be. Back in Keith's heyday, he would be in absolutely complete control of this frame.
And Ronan will be well aware of this.
He's hit a cushion, and does.
This frame already seems like the most important one of the match so far. because it's going to run down a lot of this clock.
Yeah, we're already 15 minutes out from our clock running out. 5 minutes and 26 seconds away from the 15 seconds a shot. This frame has huge mileage. Not beyond the realms of possibility not to see a player get to 6 here, and the match clock becomes a major factor. What's Ronan thinking here? Loss of turn?
Definitely. Doesn't want to move them 2 yellows too much. That will do.
Only issue with the loss of turn is he had to use a ball to play a loss of turn. So it's sort of, in terms of the numbers advantage, you kind of not gained anything.
No, but he's certainly in a better position now than before he played it. So I think you'll see it as a positive. Think he wanted that to drop.
I'd be very surprised.
Loss of turn again.
Well, yeah, the fact that he's come round straight away to play the loss of turn, maybe he was, but the same thing I said previously for Ronan applies here. He's lost one himself to lose one for Ronan. This is why this rule set's fascinating, because taking your opponent's balls off the table is the way to go about these tactical battles. Therefore, it's more like chess. You're removing pieces.
Progress is made.
Yeah.
With every loss of turn. Little bit surprised to see him separate the red from the 8 ball, but feels that the main problem for Keith is the 2 yellows on the left hand side.
Yeah, I think that the clever shot that Keith played, or the clever part of the shot that Keith played, was the fact that he was making Ronan open up the 8 ball or risk opening up the 2 yellows, and in the end he's decided that open up 1 ball rather than the 2.
Keith desperately trying to avoid leaving Ronan a chance to play the loss of turn. Will Ronan be tempted by a double? A long double up and down the table?
I don't think so. He could just clip off this, leave the red in the yellows, and cue ball top of the table once again. Just keep it as tight as possible.
Just like that.
Just like that.
It's fascinating to see how this frame will develop, because if Ronan was to win it, he would be heavy favourite, you feel. 4-2, but we're bound to be in that 15 seconds a shot part of the match.
Yeah, for every second that goes by, the more favourite Ronan will become with winning this frame. A quick win, 4-2, it would be fine. It would still be time to turn it around. But if this takes another 6-7 minutes and Ronan wins it, he'd be in a huge driving seat. So this is such a massive tactical battle we have right now. We see so many big matches, finals, all sorts of matches in the Pro Series come down to big finish after big finish. And here we are, the first Ultimate Pool Seniors final. Feels like it's coming down to an old school tactical battle. I absolutely love that.
He's put it back where it was nearly.
Yeah, trying to make the 8 awkward again.
I think he would have preferred it to be over the yellow.
It's almost a battle of patience at the moment. And the more Ronan keeps doing it, the harder it is for Keith to keep responding, because those yellows over the pocket aren't easy to keep on the table when you keep using those. And Keith does not want to open up the yellows. And he's tried to this time. He's taken a A little bit of a risk. He probably feels he's got more of a control at the bottom, so he can afford to open those yellows up and maybe have a chance to have a little dip at this next visit or two.
That really is throwing the gauntlet down to your opponent, that shot. This time it is the double. Needs this yellow off the table and hasn't got it, so Keith Brewer has won this tactical battle and earned his chance to level things up. You're about to hear the klaxon. 15-second shot clock in play.
After the shot.
Second shot clock.
Okay.
Could you imagine if it was the other way around, that you could have 30 seconds left and all of a sudden you've lost 15
Yeah,
when the beat comes in?
Would be very cruel.
But you're right, Keith has won this tactical exchange and he is going to win the frame because of it, barring something very strange happening. Waited, was patient, waited for the right opportunity to open the yellows up, and he put pressure on Ronan to come up with a response, and Ronan wasn't able to do so. So we are a ball away from all square.
It feels like a big milestone,
Frame.
but for Ronan, he just has to tell himself it's just still on serve. And considering he's quite possibly one of the most headstrong players that we have at Ultimate Pool, I don't see it being a problem.
No, he'll be fine. It's just about the next shot, the next chance, next visit. I ran through Ronan's results, so let me quickly just do that for Keith as well. He came through his group, as I said earlier on, with 6 wins and a loss in the knockout stages. He started off 4-1 over Glenn Pilkington, then 4-2 over Neil Davey, and 4-2 over Dean Anderson. Then things got interesting. He was 4-3 down to Martin Hazel, and Martin missed a skill shot to knock him out 5 frames to 3. Keith's response was the counter clearance and then the break clearance to get the win 5 frames to 4 in the quarters. And then he beat Dave Arnold, as we saw on the stream, 5 frames to 2. In any run through to a final or winning a tournament, there's always a match somewhere where you are on the edge and you manage to come on through, and that's the case here for Keith with his match against Martin Hazel.
Yeah, definitely his key result and his passage through to this evening's final. But Ronan has broken very well once again and given himself an opportunity to get back in front and stay with serve. And as that clock ticks down, any advantage becomes greater and greater.
That's not great. That is not good. And he's got the one to the bottom right. Can he avoid the 8 ball and track it round? Should be just about a room as long as he don't overhit the shot. I just flicked the 8 ball. Oh, what a result. What a result he has had. That's as good as any fluke you will see.
And our referee pointed to the 8 ball, so I think he's touching this 8 ball.
Extension called.
A huge slice of luck for the Irishman.
Massive. Absolutely massive. How does Keith keep this safe after hitting a red?
Needs a bit of luck himself, and he'll probably, well, I think that yellow's bounced off the side cushion far enough to make it comfortable into the centre pocket.
Yeah, he's got one shot really to play the transition from top to bottom. If he lands nicely on his next ball, the connections are there.
You do love a good transition shot.
Yeah, I do. I'm big on the transition.
You can have it, but wet breaks, it's just not happening.
could go either way here, down to personal preference. This frame could well have been a quick, clean breaking clearance for Ronan, and it would have been great. He would have gone in front by 1 frame again. It actually makes a difference mentally, the fact that it's 2 visits, and he had a huge slice of luck. It makes a difference to the way Keith views it. It won't make a blind bit of difference to the way Ronan views it.
By hook or by crook, one way or another, he's got his nose back in front in this final.
Still a long way to go here, still a lot that can happen. That big break coming up for Keith. His break has been huge throughout the day. His last one was probably the worst one he'd hit. Needs to get back on the good side of the break. 6 minutes, you can see that in the background. 6 minutes and 5 seconds left. Plenty of time for more frames.
A thunderbolt, and once again ball potted, but this time, well, a little bit trickier of a layout. At least he's got something to work out.
Yeah, but look at that. That is such a good replay to see it. You get to see the full technique and the quality of the strike and the control. Deserves a decent opportunity off that, and he has got one. 8 ball is in a tricky position. Well, I'm surprised to see him not play with more precision there, and it's cost him.
Yeah, left with a very awkward thin cut whilst bridging over, or possibly a double. You've taken your extension, Keith. 1 second remaining, and it has brought in an error. And these, despite looking a little bit awkward, if he can find a first pot,
Exception called.
he'll fancy himself for these. But the first pot is very, very difficult. So much so, he's just choosing to tie up the table.
No attempt to pot there from Keith. That was just nudging it over and turn the table back over. At some point, he is going to have to be more aggressive than that, because I don't see Ronan being aggressive here. The clock is his advantage.
Yeah, and he has the experience of the arena and the match clock as well. He'll be more than aware of his position in this match.
I don't think there was any thought of a pot there from Ronan either. That was just flick off it. He'll keep doing it. He doesn't want to open up the balls at the top, especially on the left-hand side, and he wants to stop Keith from having an option of doing so as well.
Yeah, Ronan happy to just keep trying to make things more awkward and more awkward for his opposition, because it's Keith that's going to have to push the boat out at some point.
Yeah, and especially, you know, Keith has to ask himself the question, how much does he fancy a 6-red shootout? Because the longer this goes, the less chance there is of a 6-red shootout. For me, Keith has to go there. That was actually an opportunity to play that yellow, kick the 8 ball out, and then all you need is one developing shot at the top of the table. Ronan can keep this tight all day. He is never going to get Ronan to open up those balls. Not in 3 minutes. Keith will not get a better chance than he has already had to try and win this frame.
Do you think Keith's a little bit unaware of the match clock?
Well, maybe, but it's out there for all to see, and that was an opportunity to try and half develop that yellow. Arguably easier to get it out now than it was, but it's still in a very, very awkward position. And that does not help the situation for Keith. Just makes that yellow a little bit more awkward to get out after potting it. I honestly think Keith's had his best chance to take the clearance on this frame. And I think he's realised that now as well. He is trying actively to open this up. Ronan will keep doing what he is doing.
He's possibly only got time for one more tactical shot before he's just forced into taking these on, wherever they are.
That's so clever from Ronan. So clever.
Very, very good. 2 minutes on the clock.
Okay, that helps. Now, Ronan, what do you do here? 1 minute 48. Do you start potting some balls to run the clock down, or do you keep it tight because the yellows are now open? Could put a red on top of the 8 ball. That's not the worst option.
Start potting balls, Simon.
Yeah.
Almost certainly.
Well, he's going to play a loss of turn and hide the white, so pot 1. So that's going to be 30 seconds wasted, and he's going to leave a snooker here. And that makes the yellow at the top of the table harder to get on again. As long as he hides the white here. Has he hidden the white? This could be a tactical error. Yeah, tactical error from Ronan. He's left this yellow on. That yellow, that cue ball had to go behind the reds at the top of the table. So here we go. Keith Brewer, 1 minute 12 seconds for a clearance to take us to a 6 red shootout. He will get to the 8 ball. Oh, Ronan, that was just had to go past the red and you had the title.
He's not rushing.
46 seconds, 3 shots. He's okay.
Yeah, he's okay. Taking his time.
He's got the angle he wanted, just to stun across the table. He'll get right behind this 8 ball. In the end, it's just a loose shot from Ronan, who's given Keith this chance.
What drama. You just couldn't write it.
This is for almost certainly a 6 red shootout.
It's there.
And in it goes with 13 seconds left on the clock. Keith Brewer ties the scores up. And as there's no golden breaks in operation in this match, barring the quickest ever by a substantial margin break clearance, it will be a 6 red shootout.
It's interesting here, Simon. I know you usually have the 6 red shootout stats to hand, but I'm almost certain in saying Keith Brewer has probably never done one of these.
Well, he's never done a competitive one. We know that. It's his first event with Ultimate Pool.
What a time to have your first 6 red shootout.
Ronan has been involved in one of the most famous 6 red shootouts in the pairs.
Absolutely.
So he has experience. Even if it didn't go his way, at least he had experience.
13 seconds on the clock, so Ronan is forced. Look, he's actually willing the 8 ball, and I think he thinks they're in play. But just a formality. 4 all. It's going to come down to 1 minute and 12 reds.
And he just found out there at the end that the 6 red the golden break isn't in play. So, yeah, incredible match though. Full of drama, full of quality, full of tactics. Absolutely brilliant. But it is going to go down to that 6 red shootout, as you say. A new experience for Keith Brewer. We do know Ronan McCarthy. He has been involved in them before. What do you think? What's going to happen here?
I think you've got to favour Ronan. I mean, even if he's only played that one in the pairs that we can think of, that's still more than Keith. Either way, both players are not the fastest. Ronan is definitely quicker though, on natural play. But who's to say Keith Brewer...
I've got something in the back of my mind that tells me that Keith Brewer holds some sort of speed record, or has done in the past, in terms of there's always a lot of speed pull here and there.
That does change things, doesn't it?
I've got to just nothing concrete. There's just something nagging away at the back of my mind that says that.
First up though, it's the ever important lag.
Yes.
Winning the lag is crucial. Does Keith know it's a massive advantage to put your opponent in? Time will tell. And I think Keith has won the lag. Now he's thinking. That tells me he's not sure. What do I do?
Standard MO is to put your opponent in, but there are a low percentage of players that like to go first. Keith has decided second is the way.
I believe Lee Kendall put himself in.
Yeah, Lee Kendall's definitely a go first guy. I think Lee Kendall agrees that it's better for the majority of people to go second, but for him, he thinks it's better to go first. Now, the key going first is set a decent time. Don't try and over rush thinking you need to set something crazy like 20 seconds. Set yourself somewhere in the mid-20s and put the pressure on. 6 pots and you will walk away with somewhere in the mid-20s.
Give your opponent a target at least.
Yeah. If you've never done a 6 red shootout before in competition and you set, let's say Ronan goes out there and sets 25 to 28 seconds, that takes some beating for somebody on their first go.
Very competitive time indeed. Has to be said though, Ronan McCarthy's famous 6 red shootout, he did miss a pot.
He did, but he blames Declan for not getting him better on the ball.
Oh, absolutely. Referee just running through the rules with Keith. I do believe he has chosen to put Ronan in first. Tension in the air. You're going to be able to hear a pin drop in that arena. I seriously doubt Keith has put practice in for a 6 red shootout, but we never know. Can you move when you have to?
So I've just been told there's just a few, making sure the clock is right and everything's tested and ready to go, because it is so important to have this down to the finest of margins, because we're seeing more and more of these 6 red shootouts getting tighter and tighter, so these have to be absolutely right. We have the clock out there, we have the referee who times, we have the timer who times, and we have a third person who times. That's how it works, so make sure, and also TV technology will go back and review it to confirm the right time as well, so nothing will be missed. So important to make sure everything is right in doing that. And now we are ready and set to go. So key here is to make sure you play lots of stop shots. The cue ball and the ball you're playing have to be stationary, other balls can be moving. And off we go. Good break.
Very good. Now he can move.
One on the side cushion is awkward, but if he makes 6 pots, he can get out in under 30 here. Oh, it's a bit of a stretch.
Two stop shots and one down the rail, Simon.
Yeah, if he doesn't miss the one down the rail, he's going to be sub 30. Key.
Similar to the John Rowe pot in a 6 red shootout. Is it there? It is. Around the 32.5 second mark, I think that was, Simon.
Yeah, that will be reviewed and it will be confirmed. But that is, I would say, outside of where he would be comfortable right now. It's not, we have seen slower times be hold up, but 33 seconds is very, very beatable here.
Like you said, though, it's given a target. And if Keith's not done this before, 30 seconds might just be enough.
Yeah, I just got a feeling that Keith's going to be very good at this. I think the break is key. If the break comes out well for him, he can then pot 6 balls. If he makes 6 clean pots, he'll fly and he'll be fine. The biggest problem Ronan had, he probably overhit the brake just by a fraction, had to wait a little bit too long, and then that bird went onto the side cushion, and everything was a bit of a stretch. If the ball doesn't go on the side cushion, then he can fly a little bit more and probably sets 27, 28, rather than the 33 that he has set.
33.01 on the big screen on the arena. We're just waiting upon the official time.
Yeah, it's just being checked and confirmed. Like I said, very important that it's absolutely right. Penny for Keith's thoughts right now. The nerves will be going. He's won so many titles in his career. Both of these men have. He will never have won a 6 red shootout in this, a title in this way via a 6 red shootout.
Yeah, an unusual feeling potting a red ball to win a tournament.
Yeah, with the clock and the beeps going down and everything else as well. You've got to beat the klaxon basically. So same deal here for Keith. 6 reds on the table. As long as the cue ball and the object ball are stationary, other balls can be moving. And if you beat 33 seconds dead, you are the winner.
Here we go. A little bit hard as he scratched the cue ball. It's still on the table. Now he needs to get moving.
If the cue ball falls in, it's a 5 extra seconds, which will hurt. He's not exactly flying here.
33 seconds is looking good. If this plant doesn't go, it's almost a guarantee for Ronan McCarthy.
Yeah, it's going to be tough from here. Keith Brewer is going to run out of time, and there you go. Ronan McCarthy gets the job done. He gets over the line. What a way to win the Ultimate Pool Mini Series Seniors title. Ronan McCarthy, what a legend he is, and he adds winning a title via 6 red shootout to his long list of achievements. Fantastic scenes here. We'll be back in a minute or two and we'll get reaction from Ronan. Welcome back to the Ultimate Pool Mini Series. What a way for us to end our weekend here at Daventry. Ronan McCarthy, congratulations on getting the inaugural seniors title, and you've done it via 6 red shootout. How does that feel?
It feels great. It just goes to show you know, who the weak link was in the doubles.
Absolutely. You've done 2 6 red shootouts, one with deck and one by yourself, and one you lost, one you
well,
won. Both of them in finals as well.
Yeah, and both of them, when I did the pot of ball down the rail at the end, and I got mine, and he missed his. So
just shows you about good bit of queuing. And I'm sure you'll be on the phone to tell him straight away as well. How did you feel you played all weekend long? Every time we've seen you, look like you were queuing really, really well, and you looked like you were in the form to take down a title.
Yeah, I played pretty solid all weekend. I just played a terrible shot in that last frame. If I had his ball into the middle, I probably won the match, and I let him see it. The goal was sort of deserved, and I made hard work of it, but just glad to win the shit out really. But I played well, played solid.
What does it mean to get your hands on the Ultimate Pool Seniors title?
It means a lot just to get a win again, because I was turning up at them pro tournaments and you're just playing against robots all the time, and it's hard to get a run. But hopefully this will give me a wee bit of confidence now getting into the rest of the season.
Yeah, it looked like your confidence had taken a hit throughout the season. You started the year in great style, making the semi-finals of the Pro Cup, and then it sort of seemed to get sort of trickier for you.
Yeah.
And we saw you in the Players' Championship recently, and you didn't look your old self there, and it's great to see you back to some form.
Sometimes all you need is a wee bit of confidence, and because I hadn't really won anything for a while, sort of you think to yourself, I'm never going to win again. So hopefully now that I'm got the confidence back, I can do a bit better.
What was it that gave you the confidence, or was it you putting hours in on the practice table to get yourself right?
It's just, with no disrespect to the old boys, they're just not machines the way that them other lads are. So you are going to get a few more chances, and I feel like if I get the chances, you know, I can win matches. But in a lot of them matches in the Pro Series, you don't really get enough table time as such.
So do you think that winning this title is going to give you the confidence to go into the next few pro events and maybe get some...
I'll definitely give me a lot more confidence. Whether I do well in them or not is a different story, but it'll help.
Well, congratulations on taking down the title. It was absolutely fantastic to see you play and take down this title. So congratulations, and look forward to seeing you playing again.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
And that brings an end to the action here from Daventry for the first weekend of the Ultimate Pool Mini-Series. We'll be back at the end of November to do it all again. And, of course, we'll be back for the pairs tomorrow. So join us then.